Hi friends, today this is a reaction video to another video on YouTube where the person has got a hair transplant done in Turkey, is sharing his hair transplant journey and results at around 1 year which he got done in Turkey. This is a long video. It actually discusses a lot of very important points from the perspective of a patient. What patient wants, how do they look out for a hair transplant journey. I am Dr. Satya Saraswat. I am an American board certified hair transplant surgeon. I'm doing hair transplants and hair loss treatment since 2006, which is around 19 years or more, and I am also a member of International Society of Hair Restoration Surgery and Indian Association of Hair Restoration Surgery. I also train a lot of doctors at our center, which is Saraswat Hospital in Agra, India, and we have trained more than 90 doctors in the field of hair transplant who are successfully running their hair loss and hair transplant practice from world over. If you want to see and watch such useful, informative, important, interesting videos, I request you to subscribe to our channel.
365 days of growing my hair.
Now in the beginning, the patient tells that this is a 1 year, exact 1 year result. So 12 months is a very good time for you to assess your results. Are they good, average or poor? Final results you see at around 12 to 15 months. So this is a very good time for you to analyze your results. That's how what we are going to do, and we are going to see how this video unfolds.
As you can see, I think it's grown out quite nicely. I like the shape of the hairline, and yeah, it's pretty long. It's probably like, I don't know, 5 or 5.5 inches right now there in the front.
Now here he is showing his result growth of the transplanted hairs to be around 5 inches, which is quite normal. That is normal. It probably shows that he is not getting haircut done very frequently, very early, like in a month or 1.5 months. Probably he is used to keep his hairs longer. So this is good that you can see better volume out of a transplanted hairs if you keep your hairs long.
And also in the back, it's healing up super nicely. I don't think there's like any trace that I've got a hair transplant at all. I think even though they pulled 2,400 grafts from there, it's totally healed up. There's no spaces or any bald spots or unevenness in the back of my head. It's fully grown in, although it has a lot of hair covering over. Even if you dig on in there, you can't see any scars or anything. So I think
then when he is discussing his results at 1 year, he combs or he pulls his hairs upwards and downwards in the donor side and says a word that there is no scarring. So friends, this is actually not true. I can see anybody who has undergone a FUE or FUT procedure, they know that there is always some scarring. There's a linear scar with FUT which is not being done here. It's a FUE procedure where you see micro dot scars, small white hypopigmented patches are seen in the donor side because he is keeping his hairs very long. So it's not perceptible to eye that there are dots or scars because of FUE. But if you clean shave your hairs, you can see. So scientifically it's not correct to say that there are no scars. The truth is that these scars are very well hidden because the hairs are long and the punch size is also on the smaller side. Please like the video if you are liking the content till now.
like a lot of you guys, I first noticed my hairline receding at about the age of 19 or so. And of course, I panicked and freaked out and thought that I was going to lose my hair in like 6 months. It was a very slow process, but it definitely was creeping back right here in the corners here. So I considered the possibility of getting a hair transplant. I knew it could be in my future, but ultimately I decided to try the more natural remedies. So I did, minoxidil on my hair. I did scalp massages, taking biotin supplements, and I think this actually did a really good job stopping the receding of my hair, but it wasn't really growing any hair back.
Now he discusses that around 6 years back his hair loss started at the age of 19 years, which probably means that he is around 25-26 years right now. Considering that this is a 6-year journey where he has gone to such a grade of hair loss, it's probably a slowly moving hair loss. Also, he shares that he has been taking medical treatments like minoxidil, biotin based multivitamins and some other things he is doing for his hairs. He's taking care of them well. Probably that's the reason why his hair loss has sort of slowed down, and this is very important. Hair transplant should never be the first step in your hair loss journey or trying to correct your hair loss. Initially you should try medical treatment, and we have made a lot of videos on medical treatment. You can watch one of the video about minoxidil on the link given here. You have to try medical medical treatment. First, you have to know how much is your hair loss going to be, which grade you are ultimately going to land, and then only you plan your hair transplant, probably around 24 or 25 years of age, not very early. So this is extremely important, and this is well discussed in this video. Please write down in the comment section below if you have undertaken medical treatment and this has slowed down your hair loss progression, and now if you are thinking about your hair transplant.
So here's the thing, my hair wasn't really thinning. It was literally, this front hairline was literally coming back and leaving big bald recessions at the corners of my hair. So I didn't have really thinning. A lot of people have thinning without the recessions. Some people have both. I just had literally my hairline creeping back and having these big indents here at my temples.
Now further on, he discusses about his hair loss grade, that there is a side recession on the sides. This is probably a Norwood grade 3 male pattern baldness, and as you know, there are 7 grades of male pattern hair loss from grade 1 to grade 7, and they are classified by Norwood. So his case is probably a Norwood 3.
So after about 5 years of doing the natural remedies and thinking about a hair transplant, I finally decided to do it. Why did I do it? Well, I got reached out to by the Dr. Sirkan Aging Clinic in Istanbul, Turkey, and they wanted to partner up and do this collaboration, and I agreed. And I did some research, I looked at the reviews, before and afters, and I decided to go ahead and do it.
Now later on, he discusses how he planned his hair transplant when he received an offer from a particular clinic in Turkey. This is very open and honest approach where the collaboration has been openly discussed. What we are seeing nowadays, that many celebrities, they go to a particular clinic, there are some interests involved which are not disclosed openly. In his case, he got a transplant done, and probably he agreed to share his experience of that clinic, how it was, on his social media channel, which is very fair. I think this is good that the patient is quite open about his collaboration, sharing his story of his hair transplant with a wider audience in lieu of getting the hair transplant done from this particular clinic. If you are planning hair transplant for yourself, please call us on the numbers given here.
And then on June 4th is when I had the consultation, and then the same day I had the actual procedure. Normally they do the consultation the day before and then the procedure the next day, but I wanted an extra day to explore the city and stuff, so I did it both on the same day. At the consultation, one of the 2 doctors will come in and draw where the new hairline will be.
Then further on, Brad discusses his hairline marking in the consultation, and we see that the doctor directly is drawing a hairline on the patient. What we would do in this step would be a detailed trichoscopy of his donor site to see his terminal to vellus ratio, the density of the follicular units at the donor site, how many grafts are available, what's the average number of hairs per graft, and coverage value, what's the requirement, calculating the area, mapping the area which is bald, trying to figure out, coming to a consensus about the density which we'll try to give it to that patient depending on the number of grafts available and the donor site hair characteristics. So probably this was not shared.
So it took a couple tries. At first they brought it a little bit lower than I wanted it to be, so I asked them to move it up to where my actual hairline lays naturally. And I recommend that to you guys too. Don't let any doctor bring your hairline lower than where your hairline naturally is. That's going to waste way too many grafts.
So initially the hairline which was drawn on his face was quite slightly lower, not quite lower, but slightly lower than what his natural hairline is. And I mean, this is a very rational decision not to go for a very low hairline, because a low hairline, especially when you get old, low hairline is going to look unnatural. So this was a very nice decision, and it's basically the step where the doctor and the patient are discussing about these steps in between themselves. What is natural, what feels natural to the patient, how he wants to wear it. The advice given here is very nice, that never go for a very low hairline. We also try to be very conservative because the donor site is limited, and you can progress from grade 1 to grade 2, grade 3 and grade 5, even up to grade 7, and especially if you are in your early 20s. So this is a time when you have to be conservative rather than wasting a lot of grafts in actually lowering your hairline. In the link given here, you can see a journey of one of our patients over 10 years where he progressed from grade 2 to grade 3, grade 4, grade 5 and grade 6, and where we have done 3 3 hair transplants for this patient starting in 2013 or 14 and then 18, 19 and then 2024. So this is how his journey has unfolded over a decade or so. So this is a good learning lesson for anybody out there if they are planning for their hair transplant.
The doctor originally wanted to do 2,600 grafts, and this really seemed like a lot to me because when I got the FaceTime consultation, they said maybe like 12 or 1,400, and this is what I thought was more congruent with what some of my friends had gotten who had similar hairlines to me. So it was kind of shocking when they wanted to do nearly double what they had originally quoted. So I asked them, let's not do so much, please, let's go lower. And the lowest that they wanted to go was 2,200. And they reassured me this is totally normal. This is actually on the lower end of grafts. This is like basically the bare minimum. So I said, okay, and I agreed. And they ended up doing 2,400. So 200 more than we had agreed on.
Then he discusses the number of grafts, and the clinic suggested 2,600 grafts, which we think is slightly on the higher side. Again, reasonably good enough that he underwent a slightly lower number of grafts. He tried to convince them for 2,200 grafts, but ultimately landed up with a 2,400 graft procedure, which is okay for a grade 3 Norwood male pattern baldness. So this is going to be a 2-part video because it's a very long video on which we have to react, and there are a lot of very, very useful points from the perspective of a prospective patient who wants to undergo a hair transplant. So we will be stopping this part of the video here itself. If you like this content, if you find it useful, we request you to share this video with somebody who is already planning a hair transplant or somebody you know that will be benefited by such an information. Thank you.